Yep.
Yes. This is a special edition road tripping of the
Hey,
pod, the Truthers Pod, with
somebody played me some road trip tunes.
going back to California. I don't know if I can play music while I'm on the call, so it's gonna be a tough one.
Ryan,
Uh,
Oh. All right,
too
your
far.
host Jesse Marlowe, with Mr. Ryan Wilson and Mr. Dominic Cusinelli, coming up to us from the road. How are we doing, gentlemen?
yes, sir. Dude,
Did
we
you
caught
win?
the
Doing good?
caught the dub in softball, and in the meantime, I watched DJ Moore drop a fucking billion points. Life is good.
Dude, yeah, that game was insane. DJ Moore with fucking. I was in another league and the guy benched him. Wasn't paying attention. He's a bum.
A tough
It's
beat.
not
Top
competitive
top
like this league
one
though.
dynasty wide receiver, DJ Moore.
I know you have the top 4 dynasty wide receivers on your team, right?
Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's incredible. Number 2, Nico Collins.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you're about to get fucking Marvin Harrison Jr. this year as well, so have fun with that. Oh, and he drafted Bryce Young. I'm sorry, dude. That's a tough one.
That is tough. That's
You
tragic.
had
Alright.
you, you had three choices and you picked the wrong one.
Bro, no. Do you not remember what happened with Richardson, bro? When that trade started happening, I felt the blood leave my body. I wanted to cry because I was gonna get Richardson at the 10. I don't know who Terrence was gonna take, but then Terrence traded the 9 to Ant for Mike Williams, and then Ant took Richardson. Ryan, yeah. So
In hindsight, Terrence should have taken Richardson because he only has one quarterback now.
yeah,
And
facts.
but
I mean, he's got Lamar though. Like, yeah, his one quarterback. He doesn't really need more than Lamar. Keep your
Yeah,
eyes on
but
the road too, Dom. I don't want to be the reason you die. Okay.
but
all right,
I got
the,
a nice car mount for my phone, so I can kind of glance at the road, glance at the screen. So we're good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's get back into this. We're a scheduled podcast now, boys. We stay on agenda.
I was gonna say, what's the
Um,
order of operations here?
so we're gonna go over the matchups from last week. Just a brief, overview, one by one. I'll start on my phone, sleeper view. I beat Nick Sabara 130 to 95. Some of the highlights for my team: Kyron Williams, nice 26 points. AJ Brown with 34, Ayuk 17. For Nick's team, another disappointing game from Kyle Pitts. Raheem Mostert had a fumble. We can talk about that. And I mean, nothing really to talk about, honestly. Trevor Lawrence continues to disappoint.
Was
So
was that a disappointing game for Kyle Pitts, or just a game for Kyle Pitts?
no, yeah, that was it was because did you guys watch the Toy Story stream of Jags Falcons? It was I watched like the first I tried to watch like the first 10 minutes. The stream was barely working. It was kind of ass, honestly, but I don't know, man. The whole Jags offense looks pretty bad, and the Falcons, it's like sooner or later they're gonna go to Heineke because I
Yeah.
understand that like Ritter's their guy, but it was bad, dude. Back-to-back picks,
I
pick six.
I do have to say about that matchup, that's a huge win for you though. Keep Nick Savara down in the mud with you. Get on the
Oh,
board.
Oh yeah,
for both of us, yeah.
oh yeah. Gotta gotta drag everybody down to the depths with me. That's where I
It's all
succeed.
good. I have elite dynasty assets, Nico Collins and DJ Moore, so I'm not even tripping out here.
Okay, keep telling yourself that. Tank Dell's the guy to own, by the way, but
I'm
with the
I guess last word on that matchup before we move on. I do really like the move Nick made to get Lawrence because I feel like quarterbacks get underrated in one quarterback, but it's still super important to have a lockdown guy. That was a good
do you
trade for him.
think so Lawrence has started the year a little slowly. Would you rather have Lawrence or Anthony Richardson going forward?
I would rather have Lawrence. I mean, I feel like he's just showing like elite passing capability. He just isn't consistent yet. but he's so young, and I feel like quarterback is really correlates highly to like real life kind of skill. Can at least get you to like quarterback 10 range, and that's good enough to
Yeah. Yeah.
start most
I
weeks.
I'll say I'd take Richardson because I think we've seen enough from him this year to know that he's a better passer than people thought he was gonna be, and he has the upside to be the QB1 in any given year because of the way he can run. And I think in a 10-man league with a shallow starting lineup, you want elite assets. So I would chase the upside of Richardson plus what he's shown so far over Lawrence. I don't know if that's a hot take or not either. I have no idea what consensus
Nope.
is on that.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be honest. I thought Richardson would be trash. He's shown. I totally agree with you, Dom. He's a lot better passer than I thought he'd be, and
Yeah.
his running is completely like as advertised. I like Shane Steichen, the offense they're running. Yeah, I would definitely go Richardson as well. So,
Fuck
but
you,
we shall
Bowser.
see. Yeah, no, that's a tough one for you. Next one was a dicking down Tyler Santi, 208 to Willie's 95. I mean, there's not a lot to say here.
Yeah,
McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Diggs. Only bright spot in Willie's team is Puka Nacua with 26.8. That's another really solid outing.
Well, you know what there is to say. I think the big story is Tyler just set the record for points in a week, and he's probably getting Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor back in the next week or so.
No, was it you who traded him Jonathan Taylor?
I did.
We will talk about that.
You know what's
a little
funny?
later.
I traded for Jonathan Taylor in redraft within 5 minutes of trading him away in Dynasty. I was just on psychopath hours, bro. I was sitting at my job. Like, I gotta just make some fucking trades right now.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Were you like, oh, I own him in this other league, so I'm okay with trading him away because I already have
No,
him in this other league?
it wasn't really like that. I had higher expectations for the chances of my team being a fringe playoff team. And when I saw that wasn't the case, I was like, okay, I don't really want to sit on an elite running back when I could get 2 upside receivers for him. And I knew Tyler would give me that package. So I was kind of like assessing the fucking shitstorm that is my roster right now and decided I should trade him. Cause like, I'm pretty confident that Addison and Higgins are, I don't know about pretty confident, but I think they both have a shot to be really relevant like 3 years down the line. Whereas with a running back, I feel like running backs can be out of the league so fast. Like, granted, that's true for anyone, but like Todd Gurley, for example, like he evaporated like that. I mean, shit like that just happens. Like Dobbins, over like that. Like it just.
No, literally, you're right on that one because like Dalvin Cook going into last year was an RB1. This year he's literally like unstartable.
Yeah.
So I feel you there. Not a problem with the process. Last thing with Tyler's team, Cowboys defense, 40 points week 1, 16 week 2, 1 down week against the elite Cardinals led by Joshua Dobbs, and then 28 points last week. Like that's pretty crazy.
I was gonna say a couple of points on this matchup. Obviously, just monster week for Tyler. It's crazy to see someone get over 200 with our starting lineups. I want to reiterate what I told Jesse before the podcast. It is extremely unreal that James is the last person to beat Tyler in this league. I think we all need to let that simmer for a bit.
Yeah, it's a fun
Bro,
fact.
if T. Higgins just, I need like what 4 more points from T. Higgins to beat him 2 weeks ago.
I know.
Tragic, dude.
Well, last year I didn't wake up in time to start Pacheco and lost the game because of that. Yeah, sad.
Yeah, you're a head ass for that. When was he playing? Was it at least a 6:30 game where you just?
No, it's just 10 a.m. and I was like hungover or something.
You're a fucking head ass for that. Yeah, do you still wake up at like 1 o'clock each day, bro?
No, I have like class. I have like 9:30s, and
Good shit.
I work at 9 a.m. a decent amount.
Good shit.
Bro, my sleep schedule's so elite these days.
Dude, I won't say what I'm gonna say because I might get canned from my job. But yeah, no, sleep's bad for me. It's been a rough one trying to wake up. All right, so move on to the next matchup.
Well, I'll
We
say one thing
have
about Willie's
yeah,
team, so
go.
we don't neglect him completely. He's definitely started off a lot more solid than I thought with the roster. I mean, Swift is having a big bounce back. He won the Puka sweepstakes. I picked him in the preseason to finish in last. I think he's already very close to kind of removing himself from real contention for last place. That's good for him.
Yeah, yeah, I like Swift. Mahomes is gonna pick it up. Willie's, we'll see. His team's still pretty trash. I don't know.
It's still, but he's already got 2 wins in the bank and has outscored like 5 teams. So he should be out of the mud with
That's
the
true. That's true.
punishment.
Giving some props to the boy. All right. Any more on that? Move on.
Next one.
Can I
Next
can I
matchup.
can I put
Go,
in a
go, go.
formal request to skip my matchup?
No. No. Oh, fuck. I'll keep that. I'll save that for last, honestly. Next one, we had Mr. Nathan Sabara defeating Bowsy by a score of 123-64.
How's he in shambles, dude?
Bowsy in shambles. Some highlights. Andrews with 22 for Mr. Sabara. Seahawks defense with 32. That's pretty
Crazy,
wild.
crazy game for them.
Honestly, with Bowsy, nobody worth mentioning.
No, his
Chase
team took a
has
total
been
dump. It
sucking.
was wild.
Yeah,
Can,
nobody worth
can,
mentioning.
can I tell a sob story about the Seahawks defense?
Yes, go ahead.
So, my fantasy life is pain. And I have a high money buy-in redraft league where, like, I swear to fucking God, 1 minute before game time, like 9:59, I dropped Seahawks defense to play the Bengals defense, and I took Geno Smith out of my lineup and put in Joe Burrow. I think it was about a 40-point swing, and I lost by 35.
Beyond tough.
That's sick. That's a sick one. Yeah.
So, pour one
That's
out
some
for me, boys.
elite decision making. So on the topic of the Bengals, Jamar Chase, and I guess the broader question can be the Bengals offense. What are we thinking rest of season for Burrow, the Bengals offense, Jamar Chase, just that whole situation as a whole?
I mean, for like real life, their offense is like full panic mode. And then for fantasy, their offense is full panic mode besides Chase. Chase can still put up points. Like, he won't be the wide receiver one, but he will still put up points no matter how hurt Burrow is or if they need a backup in there. But besides that, I
Yeah,
feel like we've seen enough that something is very wrong with Joe Burrow. He just is a different player. So he's the engine of the offense like any quarterback. I
I
don't like
think
them rest of the season. I think they're gonna miss the playoffs. I think they're toast already. I mean,
the biggest question for me, and this has been debated on football podcasts I've listened to with people kind of leaning towards no, but the question is assuming it's too late to sit Joe Burrow, which it probably is, can he recover playing on a weekly basis and resting during the week? And most people say probably not. And if that's the case, it's looking rough. I will say that in a lot of cases, it's a good bet to bet on regression to the mean, and we have enough sample size to know that Joe Burrow's really good at football. But obviously, if it's all because of the injury, and it looks like a lot of it's because of the injury, then that's not a great bet to make. So I'd if I had to project going forward, I'd project some improvement. But I mean, honestly, too, is like, at what point do you see Joe Burrow hobbled out there just playing bad football and say, like, you have to try the backup to have your best chance of winning, and then he has a chance of getting healthy too, like
they
the Bengals in real life.
well they fucked it because they needed to do that right away. But I'm sure Burrow
Yeah,
himself didn't want to. But I will say, like, me and Willie are doing a redraft team together, and we just traded the Chase Burrow stack for Lawrence and Keenan Allen. So I think they're toast for this year. Burrow
I like
especially.
that trade. I
Burrow
like
has
that trade too.
been no player in fantasy football has ruined your win
yeah.
probability more than Joe Burrow this year. I have a team. I have a super
Yeah.
flex team. Not to get all into other leagues. We'll get back to the matchups. Where I took Joe Burrow in the first round of the startup, and I'm somehow 3-1. And I mean, this guy is giving me like a quarter of the points as the other quarterbacks. We have like weird scoring settings. Like he's literally scoring 10 when like other quarterbacks score 40. Like it's nothing. It's like, are
Yeah.
you kidding
I
me?
Yeah.
think that the thing too with what you guys were saying with sitting him is like if they have Arizona and Seattle weeks 5 and 6, then they have a bye. So my thought process is like, okay, they can sit him for these 3 weeks, and hopefully they get into the bye like 2 and 5. But then even after the bye, they have San Francisco, Buffalo, they have the Ravens,
No, yeah, they play a first place
they have
schedule.
Minnesota, they have Kansas City Chiefs, they
Yeah,
have another game against the Cleveland Browns. Like that's a
I
tough
I
schedule.
think yeah they play. The NFL's really good with the way the scheduling works. I think they're
Yeah,
toast because they're just gonna play playoff team after playoff team. Starting with the Seahawks. The Seahawks look really good this year to me. They look very solid.
yeah,
They look like
yeah.
they're
They got
just
to throw the ball to JSN a little bit more, but
oh yeah
uh,
they could do well getting him more involved.
all
Um,
right. So last matchup before we get to your two. Um,
wait, who
Mr.
did
Terrence Kim.
Anthony lose to? Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan.
Yeah, I I'll say I really like Nathan's team and his roster construction and a lot of his moves. Um, the past year, I think his team will be in good shape for like the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his receivers looking nice. His receivers looking pretty nasty. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's got Herbert.
Getting from ETN to Waddle was huge.
Yeah, I love that move
Yeah,
for him.
yeah. Yep. Good shit, Nathan. We'll see if. Oh yeah, Nick Chubb was a tough one, but I still believe in you, buddy.
Roger that.
Um,
Jerome
last but
Ford
before
is
least.
running back
No,
one.
not last but before least. Does Nathan have Jerome Ford?
I have Jerome
Oh, you
Ford.
have Jerome Ford. Yeah, fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. So second to last one, we had Mr. Terrence Kim beating Mr. Nick Wan, 130 to 84. Some of the highlights for Terrence were Montgomery with 33, Derrick Henry back to his beastly self.
Devontae Adams with one of my favorite performances ever, even though it's not big on the stat sheet. I don't know if you saw that.
Ah, yeah, 11 points. I mean, I didn't watch the game,
Oh,
so
he
I wouldn't
got
know.
destroyed on a hit and like left the game for his shoulder.
That's right.
Oh,
It
really?
looked to me like he totally got his like shoulder dislocated, and then he came back in the game and
Oh,
just got a bunch of clutch catches. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was I don't know, gutsy performance there.
okay, okay. It doesn't seem like he's gonna like miss any time though, so
No,
good
yeah,
shit.
he's a dog. It was a
Yeah,
nasty hit. I couldn't
a
believe it.
dog. Nothing much of note for Nick. Yeah, his team kind of let him down this week.
Yeah, he's off to a
So,
great start though, 3-1. I mean, he's got to be
yeah.
doing
With like the least points in the whole league.
yeah.
I
Well, that's Anthony now, actually, right? Isn't
That's
he official?
incredible.
I know.
think it's still you, Dom.
Am I lowest in points?
There's a
I
big
don't think
conglomerate at
I'm
the
lowest in
bottom.
points, am I?
No, it's Bowsy. Yeah, it's Bowsy.
Yeah.
It's Bowsy.
Yeah.
The lowest in points and number 5 in the power rankings, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're the
dude.
power rankings. You're a schmuck,
The
Bowsy. Don't
power
start for that.
rankings.
Number 5. Get the fuck out of here. 1 and 3
Uh,
with lowest points, and you put yourself number 5. Oh my god.
It's incredible.
fucking comedy, man. Love that.
So I mean, in terms of this matchup, players of note, I'm not really too worried about Nick's team. I think ETN will have better days. Amon Ra and Laporta will have better
It'll be
days.
really interesting to see if Terrence can claw into the playoffs at 1-3.
Well, he's
We'll
in
see.
sixth right now.
Yes, he is
That's
in 6th right now, but I mean, he's still just like tied with a bunch of people, so that's not sturdy.
it's just
Yeah.
wild. 6 out of 10 making the playoffs is such a different feel than like other leagues.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Like it's like you just have to not be shit and you'll make the playoffs. And I will be shit, so I won't make the playoffs. But a lot of yeah. Hang on. Sorry, Joe.
So what? Are we moving on to the last matchup? Yeah. It was the Josh Allen revenge game. You know, he got traded
Yeah.
away and
Well, you
that's
know what?
the
I have him in redraft, and that was the first game this year that I felt justified taking him 30th overall. So my good redraft league, my one team in redraft is pretty sick right now.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Jesse, I gotta play in enough leagues so that I can make the playoffs somewhere. All right. We need volume. We need volume to make up for my lack of skill. Yeah.
I just like
I'm in too many.
I mentally compartmentalize to where like most of my leagues are like truly like just like a video game on the screen, like a phone game. And then like 3 of my leagues I like really like think about a lot. Like I'm thinking about my team and then thinking about stuff. But yeah. Oh yeah, probably not. I mean I will say he's always been a pretty consistent pass catcher. Like he always just adds like a nice little point total every year with his receptions, and he usually gets right around like 400 receiving yards. And that was a big one for him. My pass catchers did unbelievably bad. I'm shocked at 113 with the points from those guys. I mean, Olave, Tyreek, and Hawkinson gave me, which was tough to see.
Wait, what's wrong? What's going on? Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, but that's what I was saying earlier about Carr. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but I mean, Carr was just like horrific. I watched some highlights, but I didn't get to see the full game. That's why Kamara had 13 receptions because they just wanted to do some short passes. Yeah, I will say I think that I ended up 4th in scoring this week. So definitely a little bit of a step down. Some other people had some big weeks, but
So
at the start.
I got it. So I haven't gotten to watch a lot of games the last couple of weeks. But so what's up with Derek Carr? Because he's played really bad, and I feel like he's one of those guys where you feel like you have enough sample size to know who he is, and he's like a mediocre quarterback. Like what's going on with that?
He got hurt last week, like the week before that. No, he left the game for Jameis. And yeah, it was like a bad shoulder like thing. And there was like they was up in the air whether he was gonna play or not, but he obviously like toughed it out or whatever.
Yeah,
but it clearly he was playing with a hurt shoulder. Like they couldn't do anything like down the field. Besides that, I don't know. I feel like the Saints kind of have like shit coaching. Maybe is part of it. Their offense is just always like uninspiring to me. Besides like Olave making some like beautiful grabs this year, and then Michael Thomas like staying healthy so far. Those have been good, but Saints are just kind of like in the mud in a lot of ways. And I was just gonna say that Dom just did me a huge favor by making it not matter how many points I scored this week. I was gonna be in the clear no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. I like this. I like my receivers, although all of a sudden Higgins for this year is looking real shaky. And I think Garrett Wilson's gonna have a good year. I don't think he's gonna have a great year. But I like my receiving core for the future, and I think Tua's done enough to show that last year wasn't a fluke. I mean, I'm still unsure on how good he is in a vacuum, like without Tyreek Hill and Mike McDaniels and that whole offense. But also, I think when you play for a coach like that, you learn under a guy like that, and you take that with you anywhere you go. So I feel like I like what I've seen from Tua, and I like what I've seen from my receivers as a whole. My running back room's a fucking disaster.
Yeah, you really cleaned it out.
We were so cordial in negotiations. It's funny how that changes. No, I got fucking wrecked. It happens. And it sucks. It sucks when you trade away a player like that who like would be so easy to root for, and now I just have to hate his guts. Yeah.
All I'll say about that matchup is 4-0. There's only two of us. I appreciate the love.
Oh, love that. False. Yeah, I think Cup comes back and is the one.
I will also go false, and same sort of reasoning as Dom, but I think really specifically it's just Cup will score a lot more touchdowns than Puka, and then touchdowns are worth so much in fantasy. That's how I think he'll get it done. Even if Puka stays just like a target hog, and both of them just eat up targets, Cup will get in the end zone more. I'm confident in that. Yeah, like 14 to 16 probably. I mean, like by the end of the season, rest of the season's a lot harder because there's just so much uncertainty.
This is such a weird one for me because clearly he's really good, but I watched his all 22 and he just nothing really jumps off the page at me. Like he doesn't seem like he's particularly elite at everything, and yet
He reminds me of Julian Edelman a lot.
Yeah. Well, but even a step beyond that, not only is he not a highlight machine, he's not particularly athletic. He's not really a good route runner. Like I don't even the only thing so I only have so much football IQ. You know what I mean? Like I don't deeply understand the game of football. And the only thing that I can even wrap my head around, like, how he could be so good is that he's just brilliant at knowing where to go against zone coverage. Like, that's the only way I can explain what he's doing in my own head.
But that's also part coaching too, right? I think it's a testament to how good Sean McVay is as an offensive coach. Like, he's just the best option they got, and they know how to scheme him open. Scheme him for good opportunities. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. But I mean, Puka's done enough to where, I again, I look at him play and I'm like, he's all right, but he's done enough to where it's like, is he just an elite NFL talent? Like, the numbers do jump off the page that much that regardless of what you see on the field, you have to ask that question. That's how I feel. No, Pickens is like, I think around 11.5 PPR points per game. He's actually, like, I got him in a 12-man double flex league. He's a starter on my team, and he's like he's not even my worst starter, and I have like a top team in the league. So, but Brandon, our yeah, yeah, right. But
as much as it pains me to say, I'll go true. Is my mic being weird?
I can hear you fine.
You can hear me fine. Okay. Hopefully it stops acting up. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go true. And the funny answer that I'll give is I think the closest shot anyone has to being startable is actually Jalen Warren, because they're going to be trailing all the time. They're going to see a million third and longs. They love dumping it off to him or just running him up the middle in those situations. He just eats up yards.
Huh? Maybe it's the fan. Do you think it's the fan or something else? Let me kill the fan. All right.
But I'll go true there. I'll go true. Yeah. No.
So I think one of the tough things is that their offensive, like, obviously Pickett's not that good, but their offensive line's not very good either. And
The whole NFL has an offensive line issue. Defensive, rush talent has so far surpassed offensive line talent all the way at like the lower levels of football. And then it's just like you guys in general, like the people watching this podcast, or like Jesse. I know Dom, you kind of took like a break from football too at different periods. I've only really been like watching the NFL, like knowing what I'm watching for like 3 years now. And I consistently like finish watching games just thinking what a dog shit offensive line performance for like most of the league. Like it is such a night and day difference when you watch like the Eagles and their offensive line. it's like, or like the Lions this year, their offensive line, it's just like looked amazing. And then you look at even average lines, like it's just like most teams seem to have like just huge issues protecting the quarterback or developing any sort of run blocking. I think it's just really interesting. Mm-hmm. They over and over they'll just spam the same dude. And then you have instances like the Giants, right, on Monday Night Football, where it's like not a single person on the line can block anything the whole game. Like it's just like they should have forfeited. Like they were never gonna do anything.
People came into my work after that game talking about how bad Daniel Jones was, and I was like, how the fuck could he have had a prayer of playing well? He got sacked 11 times. Like, come on. Yeah. I do think in a deeper league, one of
Well,
like you could survive with Pickens as your flex when Deontay Johnson's out.
yeah, I
But
mean that's a whole other discussion because like depending like depth of league is like everything. Like
yeah,
one of my leagues, I have to start Jalen Warren every week, and he's like an okay guy to have it the end of
yeah,
my starting lineup.
yeah.
That's really deep. Yeah, it's so yeah. That's yeah.
He either starts superstars or starts nobody, historically speaking. Damn it! I wanted to do it. Achan, true, false. So here's one of the, and I'm gonna withhold my answer and think about it more. But the first thing that comes to mind is Achan's such an interesting case because his college tape jumps out. The dude is incredibly quick. He's faster than everyone else on the field. I mean, we know he ran a 4.32. We know he ran track in college, and he's one of those guys where it's like he's so small that you could have, and a lot of people, including myself, kind of wrote him off as like, well, he's too small. There's not a lot of evidence to back up him being an elite NFL running back or a really good NFL running back. But at the same time, speed and quickness wise, he is such an outlier. But also with Gibbs, this is kind of a tired thing. A lot of people have said this, but I don't understand why the Lions drafted him. Also, I was really surprised to see him default overall. But I don't know why the Lions drafted him, knowing that the main running back they want in their offense is a big guy to jam between the tackles. And that's what we saw last year. And we're seeing it again this year. And obviously the offense is working. I mean, it's the same thing with it's the whole Falcons thing all over again. It's like Gibbs is really good, but you don't want to use him. So why did you draft him? I didn't answer the question, but
Uh, yeah.
say the question again. if I had to pick one now, it just feels so like ridiculous overreacting to a small sample size. But if I had to pick one now, I think I'd have to go Achane. I mean, just there's something to be said for going out and dominating at the NFL level, and he's done it, and Gibbs hasn't, and that might look really stupid in a couple of years, but yeah. Ryan?
Yeah, I'll go True for like pretty much super similar reasons. However you pronounce his name, A-Chain, however. Like Dom said, his tape stood out, but the biggest thing that stood out about it is everyone knew his prospect profile. He's a small speedster, and not just a regular speedster, but like a dominant speedster, like a legitimate track and field athlete. But when you dive into like his college career, they used him up the middle. They used him as a in between the tackles runner. And he was successful at it. And he did it in the SEC, and he did it on a worse team than Jahmyr Gibbs. So with that sample size, combined with the fact we know he's gained like 10 pounds since he left college, the fact he's in a much better offense, even than the Lions. And the Lions are a great offense, but the Dolphins is just a whole different level of absurdity. And the fact that he's now showing that NFL athletes aren't going to completely shut him down. I think I could easily see that. But I mean, it's such a small sample, it's tough. But I loved his tape. I also flagged him as a do not draft guy for me because of his size and just historically what that means.
Yeah.
But I also knew that, like, if there was going to be an exception, it would be him. Like,
Right.
no one his size gets used like that in the SEC in the first place. They would run him in between the tackles, and he was good at it. He was a good in between the tackles runner in college. It just wasn't that he did it. He was actually really good. So I could see him being better than Gibbs. I'll go True.
I want to add in one more thing. What's funny for me is it's very unscientific, but part of my just evaluation of running backs is how big or small they look out there. Because I mean that matters. Like if they're getting towered over by other athletes, then it's hard to keep them on the field. And like Gibbs like looks smaller out there than Achane. I don't know if that's just like I'm just sounding stupid, but you know what I mean? Like Gibbs goes out there and he looks small, and like you can see the weight that Achane put on. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass.
And
but I'm talking about like just like if I'm just looking at their build, like just in the backfield, like Achane just looks bigger. Like you know, like he just I don't know. That's pretty much. There's not a lot of analysis there, but he just looks like it's surprising because you know the whole reason not to draft Achane was because he's small and like you don't see him in the backfield and go, oh, he looks way too tiny to be on the field, like at all. Anyway, for whatever that's worth.
I'll go like a big who knows on that one. Like we don't know how he'll develop or how their offense will develop, but I think in the immediate future, like this year and next year, he'll be a complimentary back who they'll try very hard to like throw the ball to more.
So
Scheme him up plays.
Ryan, I think you know more about football than I do. I'm curious if you think that obviously Montgomery's the bigger back. You know, you can jam him between tackles. I'm sure he's a better blocker than Gibbs, although I can't say it for sure, but that would be my guess. Is there like a really good do you think there's a strategic reason that Montgomery's out there over Gibbs? Do you think he's shown that he's better or he's just a much better fit for the Lions offense? Or do you think that it's a little misguided?
No, it's not misguided at all. Real life football, you need Bruiser running. Like
Yeah.
Montgomery has been fantastic this year. I mean, he's looked awesome. And like if I was on their coaching staff, I would be ready to just like name my firstborn after this guy. Like yards per carry, efficiency stats, like yeah, they're important, but Montgomery fights for extra yards. He's been terrific at the goal line. Obviously, offensive line is the biggest in that, but still, he's found his way in the end zone a bunch. He has pretty sure hands. Like he's not a monster pass catcher, but he'll, not have drops. And then yeah, he's like a legitimately good blocker, which in Gibbs is like not a good blocker at all. But like almost no rookies are good blockers at the running back position. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, what people forget is how big Montgomery is. He does not look his size, but if you go look at his height and weight, he is a big man, even for a running back. Like he's tough to bring down. And he's been a fantasy monster before. The year, I think it was the first year you guys did the Dynasty League. He finished as like top 5 running back or something.
The Bears.
But when he was the Bears. We have like 13 minutes left. So should we do like one more and then go to just like league wide trash talk and future talk? All right, I'll give this the last one then. It's what I said before to you, Jesse, but true or false, will Jonathan Taylor come back looking like his old self? Just as simple as that. You say true. Hard true.
I'm going true, and I think the biggest reason is because I think he's gonna be as healthy as he's been since his monster season, and I think the Colts offense actually looks really good. So I could see him having a phenomenal season. Assuming he plays it out.
I'll go false on this one. I will give the caveat that I still think he'll be really good for fantasy and real life, but just in my mind, I'm pretty sure we've seen the best of JT. I don't think he'll always be like a half tier, a tier below just how dominant he was in those kind of like season and a half run where he just carried the Colts offense.
I agree with that.
But there's a lot of room. Yeah, there's a lot of room. I still think he'll be really good, like a running back one in fantasy, really good for the Colts in real life. But he won't be breaking off, monster runs every week. And
Yeah.
oh yeah,
But let's take a step back. Is it not in his range of outcomes to have another RB1 overall season?
no, like that's just my take is that it's his range of outcomes no longer contains that. But it's just an opinion. It's totally reasonable to say that
Yeah.
he has as good a chance as any.
if you play the odds, I'd say he probably doesn't have another RB1 finish. But like, will he do it again in his career? Like, it wouldn't shock me. I mean,
Well,
I guess it
that's
can't.
part of the thing, right? I think he has 2 years left in his prime anyway.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, no, I mean, he's already, yeah, not that much time left.
I don't know. I know his team's shitting the bed, but I also love how you're just airing your trade offers on the live the live podcast. His roster still looks awesome to me. I'm consistently puzzled by how his team just fails to put up points, and and fails to win weeks. So I would still project that 25 first is like late, like landing in the 7 to 10 range. So it's up to how much you believe in JSN. Yeah, it's
Right. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. So if I were in your position, I don't have any JSN shares anywhere. If I were in your position, the first thing I'd do is go watch every route or every target he's gotten so far this year and just kind of get a feel of how he's looking against NFL defenders. And the reality is, if I gave you an answer right now, it would just be based off so little. So well, and they're not playing him in two wide receiver sets, and they didn't draft him with the plan to do that forever. So we don't see him in the role that he's gonna play in that offense in the long term. So I think that's a reason for hope as well. Also, that passing offense hasn't. I mean, I guess Lockett and Metcalf have both had their games, but the passing offense has
been quiet. Yeah,
yeah.
they've been driven by the run, I would
Like
say.
there's no world where that passing offense is going to support three receivers, and just in terms of opportunity wise, they haven't put Jackson out there enough to take over for Lockett or Metcalf. And then, I mean, it doesn't help that he hasn't really flashed much out there yet. But I think I would need more information, but I'd lean towards being patient, not worrying about it too much yet.
I think Dom knows this one, but the Javonte Williams trade. Because they were talking on the last podcast episode, like, how did I get Jesse's pick to get Bijan? And I told Jesse before the podcast that it was a trade with Willie. After Javonte's rookie year, I traded him to Willie for Kenneth Walker, Jesse's first, and Willie's 25 first. And Jesse thinks that's up there with the big.
Oh
Your
my
face is killing me.
god! I didn't realize you got Jesse's picking that. Holy fuck! Yo! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Holy shit!
That one was tough. No, the Kelsey one is the worst. Like, at least at the time, like, he gave up Claypool, Hooper, and a third for Kelsey. Claypool, Hooper, and
Wait,
a third.
where are we at on Javonte Williams going forward for Dynasty?
He just needs more time to recover. So it's the same as he's been. He's on the same trajectory. It's really good that he's playing already and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. could probably get him in the RB2 range, but it'll depend a lot on the offense.
Yeah. One of the things is, again, I've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks. So I watched a lot of football the first 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks has been more shaky, but from what I've seen, he's looked pretty solid. But obviously, they don't want to crush him with the big workload, and obviously that offense isn't very good. But like, all things considered, just eye test wise, I thought he looked pretty good. So I could see him returning to RB2. I mean, even by the end of this season, it wouldn't surprise me if he were back in the RB2 mix.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
there's a
I
lot
still
going against him for now.
I still can't believe that trade. That single-handedly took my team out of the gutter.
How do we feel about Breece Hall rest of season
The same thing with Devontae. You could probably expect struggles the rest of this year, like inconsistency. Like he'll probably have some games where he gets in the end zone and adds like a lot of yards. But then he'll have total dud games.
That one's interesting to me too because I feel like he's looked really good.
He's looked really good, but he also had that run week 1 where it's like
he ran out of steam. Yeah.
In any universe where he was like fully healthy.
Yeah. It's true.
That's the same thing that happened to I know this one turned out tragically, but Dobbins last year when he actually got finally back, he had multiple long runs. And I know Dobbins wasn't ever a speed guy, but like before the ACL injury, he would have housed it.
Didn't he run a 4.37 or am I tripping? I thought he ran a 4.37.
Dude, maybe he did. I don't know though.
But yeah, I mean for sure, you could tell like there's the one play that really was flying around Twitter where he broke it off Dobbins, and like you could tell he was dragging that injured knee along for the ride.
Yeah, not a good sign. Pretty prophetic for what would happen later, in a way. What about
Just tell me my brief. Okay.
What about like league in general? What are we thinking? Last place punishment, championship odds? Who's going to the playoffs?
I'm coming in last. Yeah. You know, other than last week, I've low-key had pretty solid point totals. Last week was brutal, though.
You do have no running backs, though.
I know. Zach Moss is dead. Rest in peace. It's a good run.
No, I'm really... Willie?
Yeah. How about Nick Long? Is he going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, he should. I mean, his team's solid, and he's 3-1. Good start. Like, it's like already like a quarter of the regular season.
He's got like 3 points more than me this year, and I'm 0-4. It's fucking bullshit.
No, well, that's what I think. So I was telling Jesse, you say you're going to finish in last. I think there's going to be a toilet bowl. I think just statistically, there's enough, like, there's not enough separation at the bottom of the points that it's pretty likely whoever finishes with the worst record will be different.
Okay, so if it's worst record and lowest points for are different, they face off in the toilet bowl?
Yes, I know we have 2 minutes left, so I want to state this publicly, especially if Nathan is watching this, because I've never heard it discussed. It has to be allowed that if the person with the lowest points makes the playoffs, they are also eligible for the toilet bowl. Because there has to exist a scenario where someone can win the championship and the toilet bowl in the same year. No. I think it is like allowed. It's just I've never heard it explicitly discussed. But I'm adamant that it has to be that way.
By rule, it has to be allowed. I mean, because it's just 2 separate things. It's like playoffs and championship are different from toilet bowl.
That's exactly what if it's never gonna happen, but could you imagine? Like, you would have to lose to the...
Can you imagine being out in public doing your punishment and being like, yeah, I won.
The trophy. I won and I lost. That would be the greatest thing.
You have like a ice.
Fuck all of you. I took over Garbage like my team. Ryan,
Moore is the number one player in all dynasties. And fuck you all.
Thank you for Josh Allen. Thank you for Tyreek Hill. Thank you for Bashan and